Year 6, so we're going to read the next part of the book Above Pay Grade, The Boy with the Bronze Axe by Kathleen Fiddler today. We're going to be doing Chapter 8, Part 1, which is pages 117 to 121. You've just finished reading Chapter 7, which was about the Festival of the Sun, so you will know that in that chapter, Tenko was nearly sacrificed and lots of things happened. But he's just promised Lokar that he will not fail the people of Skara and that he will stay there and look after them and not leave. Chapter 8 is called The Day of the Fog. If you look underneath this video, then you'll see the questions for the Vipers just as usual. And if you want to pause the video, have a little look at those questions now so you can get an idea of what's coming, then please do. Okay, Chapter 8. When the excitement of the Festival of the Sun had died down, Tenko grew restless. Life at Skara seemed quiet and uneventful. Tresco and Carwin kept out of his way. The children helped with the flocks and herds. They took the boats out to the rocky reefs and brought back limpets and crabs and flatfish. In the long summer nights, they sat on the sand dunes round the village and worked on bone ornaments and stone axes. One day, Callie found Tenko sitting moodily on a sand hill just above the Bay of Scale. He was staring hard at the two boats. "What is wrong, Tenko?" Callie asked. "Oh, nothing ever seems to happen at Skara. I might as well be a cow or a sheep." Callie looked alarmed. "Do not say things like that, Tenko. Why were you looking so hard at the boats?" In her heart, she was fearful that Tenko might take his boat and leave them. She did not know of his promise to Lokar. "I was thinking of a way they could be made safer. Sometimes they roll over in heavy seas." Callie felt relieved that that was all that was on Tenko's mind. Tenko went on. "Listen, Callie, at the Festival of the Sun, I talked with men of other tribes. One of them was a man from the north who had taken over a day's journey to reach Brodgar. He told me there were other islands to the north. Many islands. I should like to see those islands." "I knew there was something troubling you," Callie said unhappily. "There is always something in me that will not let me be still, Callie. Always I want to find out what lies beyond the next headland or over the next hill. But I want you and Brocken to come with me and find out too." It was as though a great stone was lifted from Callie's heart when she knew that Tenko had no thought of leaving them behind. "The large boat will not take 3 of us very fast if we have to carry meat and water for our journey. The smaller one is apt to roll, and it would be hard for you or Brocken to handle it in the open sea. I've been thinking of a way to make the boat safer." "How, Tenko?" "There are still 3 small branches left from the tree that we found. I'm going to cut 3 notches in the side of each boat as they face each other. Then I'm going to shape a notch like this at the end of each branch." Tenko drew a T-shaped notch in the sand. "I shall fit the notches on the branches into the notches on the boats, and the branches will link the boats together." "I understand. It is a good plan." Callie clapped her hands. "Then, over the 3 branches, we can stretch a sheepskin tightly. It will serve to hold the branches in position and make a platform by which we can pass from one boat to another. Will you help me with it, Callie?" "Yes, yes, you know I will." "Come now, let us start work on it at once. We will bring the branches from my bed where I've been keeping them safe." So that brings us to our first question today. It's an explain question. Can you explain Tenko's plan to make the 2 boats safer? Have a think. We've just read that bit, and I'll tell you the answer in just a moment. So Tenko is going to use the spare branches that he has left from the tree, and he's going to cut some notches in them, and then he's going to attach them to both of the boats. So essentially what he'll have is 2 boats joined together, and then across the branches he's going to stretch some sheepskin. So it's going to make an area where the children can actually put things, or where they can actually clamber across into the 2 boats between one another. And what it will mean is that there will be 2 boats joined with the sticks, so it will make it like one craft, and neither boat can roll side to side. Therefore, it should be much more stable on the water. Come now, let us start work on it at once. We will bring the branches from my bed where I have been keeping them safe. Callie hesitated. Tenko, we ought to ask our father for permission to make this journey. Tenko frowned. He did not wish anything to stand in the way of his adventure, but he knew that what Callie said was right. He thought hard for a minute. Very well, he said at last. I will ask Bruno and Lokar. If they are willing, then that is enough. Callie and Brocken went with him to Bruno and Lokar. When Tenko outlined his plan, Bruno looked doubtful. These are dangerous seas, Tenko, and the shores are bounded by rocky cliffs. You would be voyaging along unknown coasts. That is true, Bruno. I promise you that I will not venture too far. I will go no further than 2 days' journey. I want to see what is beyond the headlands to the north. Why do you want to go, Tenko? Lokar asked. There is a restlessness in me, Lokar. It comes on me like a sickness. It is as if I am seeking for something that I have not yet found. I must see what lies behind the mountain, beyond the headland. Lokar turned to Bruno. Our people came from far lands, Bruno. It took them many thousands of moons, many generations of men to reach this island, but always in them was the urge to find new lands. Maybe here in Skara we have grown too contented. Tenko, Callie and Brocken are people of our future. Let them go on their adventure. It might be that Skara could vanish in a night, and our tribes would need new land. Skara? Vanish in a night? Our strong stone dwellings disappear like a puff of smoke? Come, Lokar, that is not possible, Bruno laughed. Do not laugh, Bruno. A strange uneasiness fell on them, and then Tenko broke the silence. May I take the boats and go then, Bruno? Have Callie and Brocken your leave to come with me? Very well, Tenko, but you are to take no risks, remember. No chasing sea monsters in the sea. I promise that, Bruno. And you be well back in the Bay of Scale by sunset on the 2nd day. I'll try to do that, Bruno. Lokar added a word of warning. If you meet strange tribes, be friendly towards them, but do not trust them much. I will heed what you say, Lokar. They started work at once on the boats. Bruno sometimes lent a hand with the work too. He also made extra paddles for them. We all know how easy it is to lose paddles, he said. At last the boats were united by the wooden struts and the sheepskin. Tenko had made the first catamaran to sail the Northern Sea. If you look on the vocabulary down at the side of the questions, some of these words are there to explain to you what a catamaran and some of the other words are. There's a picture of one there. Tenko had made the first catamaran to sail the Northern Sea. He was thrilled with his achievement and bounced up and down in the smaller boat. Look, Bruno, it will not sink. It would even be hard for the waves to overturn it. It will be difficult to steer, perhaps, but we shall soon get the knack of it. All that afternoon they practised paddling the boats round the Bay of Scale. Bruno too tried his hand. It is a good craft, he said. It does not rock and roll in the waves. I shall handle the smaller boat. Callie and Brocken can take the larger one. My stronger paddling will make up for theirs and help to steer the craft, Tenko planned. The next day was a fine, still day with no wind. The sun rose early in the southeast. In the northeast, a red ball of fire. Tenko and the children were up at sunrise and packed the sheepskin bags with meat from Stempsey. She added a small bowl of wild honey. This was a treasure indeed. It was not often a nest of wild bees was found, and it was not easy to smoke them out and to get the honey. Bruno took 6 hollow horns of cattle out of his keeping place behind his bed. These were precious possessions too. You can carry water in these. Fill the horns with water and tie a sheepskin over the end of each one. That will keep the water from spilling out. That is how the men of long before us carried water on their journeys, Lokar said. Remember to fill the drinking horns whenever you touch land. That's our next question. It's a retrieval question. How will they carry the water and how will they keep it from spilling out? Have a think. So it says in the book they're going to carry the water in the horns that have been hollowed out from cows. And when they filled the water, the horns with water, they're going to tie a sheepskin over the end of each one to keep the water from spilling out. That way, it's like they have a water bottle. At last they were ready for their adventure. They pushed their craft into shallow water and got into the boats. Berno, Lokar and Stempsy watched them go. Stempsy with misgiving in her heart. And that's our last question for today. It's a vocabulary question. It said Stempsy had misgiving in her heart. What do you think misgiving means? So she's standing there. She's watching her children go off with Tenko in the boat. What will she be thinking? So if you have misgivings about something, it means you have doubts or concerns and that you're worried. So she's watching them go and she's a bit concerned and quite worried about their well-being and whether they're going to survive the journey. As though he could read her mind, Lokar said, "Have no fear, Stempsy. This is a voyage that Tenko must make for the sake of the people of Skara." The strange craft carrying the children grew less and less in size. They watched until it rounded the point of Veron. All that morning, the children dug into the sea with their paddles, and the catamaran moved steadily northwards, helped by a gentle breeze. Now and again, Tenko ordered them to rest, and they laid their paddles on the floor of the boats and relaxed. The urge of the tide drifted them northward. Though Tenko followed the shore, he took care to keep the craft well out of beyond the groundswell near the cliffs. It was a cruel, rocky shore of great headlands, fringed by jagged reefs. The sun mounted higher in the sky, and the children grew hungry and thirsty. Still, Tenko pulled on, looking for a break in the chain of cliffs. A great headland towered to an immense height above the water. Tenko began to think that he might have to turn back. Callie was flagging in her stroke on the paddle, and Brocken had a blister on his hand. Then, all at once, as they rounded a sharp reef, they came on a small sandy bay. A stream of water flowed down between the green hills and spread itself in the shallows at the head of the bay. That's the end of part 1 for today. We'll do part 2 in the next session.